Hi everyone and welcome. Today I wish to talk about an issue which seems to be a theme of mine but which is something that probably needs to be discussed, or at least which I would like to discuss, and that is the salivating right. So what happens is we see that there are occasions where the left or the left of politics would tend to trip over itself. It makes a mistake. It does something that the right wing would like to celebrate. One of those is the simple fact that Biden stumbled up some stairs onto Air Force one day, which kind of ignores the fact that I think I saw a clip where President Trump at the time had some toilet paper caught in the heel in the back of his shoe, and doesn't seem to be an issue. Yet I know many occasions where you can have a look at the stupid things that Trump had done, and none of those get aired on Sky News or on the right media anymore. I just need to say, here in Australia, the only right-wing media that we have are the Murdoch Press, which is Sky News, the Advertiser, the Australian, and a couple of regional papers, I think, but and maybe some state papers. And it's significant because they will sell us the propaganda in relation to what they believe is the way by which they could influence how we think about our politics. And I'm continually fascinated by people like Paul Murray, Chris Kenny, what's his name? Forgotten what used to be Alan Jones, but he's no longer there. But all these guys that sit on Sky News panels talking about stuff which they generally know nothing about, but which they believe are the ideas which most of us should be listening to, forgetting that there are podcasts that have more viewers than what Sky News have, or what even some of the stations that Murdoch, or some of the advertisers, the papers that Murdoch cares to own. So one of the things, though, that I think I'll start talking about today is what do you do then if you have a right-wing commentator get on your station and they say something that you would like to disagree with, but you can't. And we have a situation here where Megan Kelly is on with Paul Murray, and I'm sure Paul and Megan have this incredible connection, but in this particular instance, we must remember that it was Trump who famously in a debate referred to Megan Kelly sort of bleeding everywhere, whatever, and which was inappropriate. Shows his misogynistic view of the world, and which really should have kicked him right out of the campaign at that particular point. But because the Americans generally are pretty stupid, that certainly didn't happen. But here's an incident where Paul Murray is questioning the stupidity of Biden, which they do all the time, never, ever talking about the positive aspects of Biden's agenda. How in the hell he's got this stuff through the House and the Senate is beyond me, but is made some significant changes within, in terms of climate change, in terms of taxation, in terms of getting rid of student debt, and a whole host of things. Infrastructure. He's done stuff that Trump was never able to do, would never think of doing, because Trump's an idiot. But Biden has been able to do that, regardless of how slow he is, how he seems to tell the same stories over and over again, how he just appears to be like our aging grandparent whom we wish would just friggin' shut up. Even though he has all those deficits, at the end of the day, he kind of got the job done. And you never hear the right wing talk about anything that he has done. So here's an interesting exchange between Murray and Megan and Kelly in relation to what's happening in the US. Now, the interesting thing is the Megan hit says that the Republicans are dumb. And I just want to just watch how Paul Murray moves this subject onto another subject once she mentions this.
So much so that open speculation of should he run, will he run, but then the media has now decided to come in and deliver air support for Joe Biden. Apparently, moving above inflation, above everything else, are threats to democracy as the number one issue.
Well, I think the biggest thing that's happening now is something I mentioned last week, which is Trump is back in the news. And the media loves that because Trump translates into ratings. Trump last night said he wants he wants to be declared the president because he found out that the FBI was telling.
I love this bit because Paul Murray is laughing, but probably thinking at the same time, well, perhaps he should be. Perhaps that was a good move. And Megyn Kelly is laughing and saying, he's an idiot. And that really wasn't a good move because it just ain't going to happen. So why are you even like... It's just... I can only describe... And it's not about right or left of politics. The reality is that he's just a moron. And that to think that a group of people would vote... If there was someone... It'd be like if we chose Pauline Hanson... from One Nation as our Prime Minister, or we allowed her party to have a majority of votes, of a majority representation in the lower house. It would be, it's like you'd be wondering where in the hell you've gone. And that comparison is fair enough because in the United States, that's kind of what's happened. It's the Pauline Hanson type mentality, which is, the IQ's not too crash hot, and to have that sort of permeate through your whole system and to cause a toxicity which is really, really intense is horrifying. But in the United States, this is what they've done. And here we have Megan saying, well, actually, the stupid people here are the Republicans.
And as we all know, that's not exactly how it works over here. You can't just like who would do that? So we just get out our little, ink pad and we declare void on Joe Biden's head? No, that's not going to happen. And the problem with the Republicans over here, Paul, is they're so dumb. They're so dumb. Just freaking stop.
I love this bit because I just want to show you Paul Kelly's face. Look at that. What can you say about a face like that? Only a mother could love that, don't you agree? But there's Paul laughing, thinking, oh, this is Megan, you're so funny. You're just absolutely a delight to have on the show. And you're telling me that Republicans are so dumb. Whereas Paul wants to stand up for Republicans and the right in politics in the US. Every single day, he and all the rest of them, this cabal of strange and individuals who never, ever, really fascinating watch them because they never tell you anything. So it's always criticising. It's never telling you what they think should be done differently. So they're criticising whatever is happening at the time. So just before this bit that I've taken off YouTube, they were talking about climate change and the fact that, they weren't talking about climate change actually, they were talking about renewable energies and the fact that none of them will seem to work because, you have to have batteries and the technology is not there and all that sort of stuff. And when I was thinking about that the other day, I was thinking that, if we adopted that approach to sending as men to the moon back in the 60s, 67, whatever it was, we would never have done it if we thought the technology could never do it. And we look at how much technology sits within our phones now, which is far more than they had on the spaceships that they sent to, on the Apollo ships that they sent to the moon. So, we would never do anything if we just said, well, we've got to wait until we have the technology. The fact that we have these ideas and we have solar panels everywhere, and the fact that we can't store a lot of it at the moment is really the task at hand. It's not the problem. The problem would be there if we chose to do nothing. about this, which is what Murray and his cohorts would like. They would like to see us do nothing. They wanted to see us sell coal, heaps and heaps of coal across the world. And this other issue that really concerns me is that here in Australia, we are one of the world's largest producers of coal. We sell it to India and to China. And we are contributing, even though we're a very small percentage, 2% of emissions come from Australia or whatever it might be. We are adding to the problem by the amount of coal we're digging out of the ground and shipping over to other countries, and they're burning it in their furnaces to make cars and other materials. So we are just as responsible, even though we are not producing a lot of emissions ourselves. So what do you think? If you like anything that I say, or agree with me or disagree with me, please let me know. Just do a subscribe down the bottom and ring the bell for future notifications. Thanks everybody. Take care of yourself. Look after yourselves. And more importantly, be safe.